uhambile uthe makangena lelo kasi lelo washaya imoto waspeeda makaspeeda this is selokishini phela phakathi wena from lapho abreak dead break makade mina ngila emva kwakhe ngithi ngajumpa ngawela ku dashboard manguwela ku dashboard sesiyalwa silwela isibhamu. The first thing I did, I pulled the trigger. Dua. Abangani bami bonke laba baphuma babaleka ngasala na this guy wakhona ukuvula umnyango wathatha egun wayihlutha from esandleni sami and then he's outside and wayikhomba beam like for real wayikhomba that time ibrain yami like I felt ngishonile felt ngishonile because mangiqeda ukuqhumisa indlebe like because the time I was on the dashboard ngiqhumisa igani ngibone ama-spark nje ama-spark and then amadlebe avalekile like khalantswi bangathi it's a dreamy thing so makathatha isibhamu sithi athi makata wathi yes athi dwa usame bullet ithi kayi-2 athi dwa makathi yes and then kula ngiphuma khona ngabaleka.
Brother man, how are you?
I'm fine, my brother. Wena unjani?
Ngiyaphila bafu. It's good to see you, man.
Nami ngiyajabula ukukubona first time.
Tell me about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Soweto njengamanje but nguThabiso Lucas Nache. Ngikhulele eNorthwest.
Okay.
Yeah, small village between Lichtenburg and Mahikeng. Mahikeng, that's where Caspanyo West is from.
Yeah.
Yeah, the small village called Ishila. I was born Lapo, and I think my mom called me Usfiso Terence.
Okay.
Ubaba Wakasbego.
Okay.
And then just later on, I kind of, maybe we'll get into the story, but that I was renamed to Butabiso Lucas Nach.
Yeah, let's start from scratch. How were you abandoned as a child?
I don't really know, but I think I was around almost 6. I was 6 years, between the ages of 6 and 7. And my mom had her own issues with her family. So I think she was kind of, what is the right word? To kumqosha, from her family. And she had 3 children, my sister, and it was me and my brother. So I don't know how she got there to this family. I think this was just the family friend or her own friend. And based on that lady, the way she used to, whenever she's angry, she will say, "Wanas febe, mahunjetse munna." I think what happened there, my mom, this lady accommodated my mom because my mom was chased away from her family. And then I think the lady suspected, or I don't know.
Yeah.
She found my mom with her man doing some silly thing. And then they got into a fight, and then my mom ran away, leaving me behind with that same lady. This is just, I think, a friend of my mom, not a family member or somehow related with my mom. And then that's how I got abandoned. My mom ran away and never came back. She left me with her friend. And that's where now my story started. Actually, just before my mom abandoned me, the sexual thingy and counterpart, we went to Potchefstroom from my baby, the father of my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother, I think he was just a toddler by then. And then we went to a wedding in Potchefstroom.
So you guys were only sharing a mother and you had like separate...
Yeah, we had, all of us, we had different fathers.
How many were you?
Now we are 5.
Okay.
And all of us, we have different fathers.
Okay, you are 6 years old and
At
you
that time.
abandoned.
Yeah, no, before she abandoned me, I'm with her.
Yeah.
It's me, my mom, my sister, and then my little brother. And now the family of my, the dad, my brother's father, had something like a wedding, and then we went to Potchefstroom for that wedding. And there, Imakaya, usually abantwana abancane babandlalela somewhere lapha, they make their bed somewhere there, and then we slept lapha. And I remember this older girl, but coming to think of it, I don't think she was such an older girl. I can't really maybe make up her age, but she was way older than me. And then I remember she got into umpetene, and then she guided me on what to do, touch her, how to touch her, and then what to do.
How old was she?
I don't know, man. I can't tell. Because it's something, I think we beslele busuku. I only know her name.
Was she a teenager or
I
maybe?
think she was a teenager, probably, yeah.
Mm.
She might,
Yes.
I can't really tell whether it was ebusuku or mara beslele. I don't remember whether it was ekuseni, masokuba ekuseni, or it was around ebusuku, because the memory is not that clear.
Yeah.
She got into my bed and then told me what to do, and then we did the thing. And then, to be honest, that thing kinda influenced my sexual way going forward. It was more like kinda a grooming of some sort, because going forward I just found myself being a sexual pervert. I remember just after that, before I got exposed to any pornography or anything, I remember that's now after years later, I remember doing the very same thing that we did together with that lady, and that's how, now it defines how I do sexual stuff. Like, I'm a touchy person, and like, but in foreplay, I can't do sex without foreplay. And then it's the same thing that happened to me back then.
Sure, it sort of like influenced your future.
Yeah, it influenced, like, kind of, there's a right psychological word, they say self-concept. Self-concept is the idea of self, how you see yourself. So I see myself as that sexual person who's, like, to an extent that I once, manje, at one time, Mankowa, I once did in this thing, service. Yeah, what is this thing? Sensual massage.
Yeah.
I was just offering sensual massage as a service. And then massage them, pose.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, that kind of way of thinking, but in passion, it started way when I was there in that time. Yeah, it started then.
Jeez, man, I'm so sorry about that, man.
Yeah, but as a boy, at that time I didn't see it as rape. You know, boys, domdala, see, yeah, it was such a nice thing. Actually, I wanted nothing hands there. You know, this old clip. If according to me, I feel like it can happen monthly or weekly or so. There's that clip. Yeah, I felt like nothing hands kanjalo.
Jeez, man. I wanted to understand, when was the point whereby you felt like, okay, what happened to me when I was 6 years old, it actually affected me in a negative way? Because when we are young as boys, especially Maslale Kasi, you know, we embrace that, yeah, no, I'm with the girl and all that. Yeah, when you know, and if maybe you're not with the lady, like, you look like maybe you're not, you know, cool. Yeah, we pari. So, but you come to a point whereby you actually realize that, snap, my life is a bit messed up.
Now, but by now, I mean, like, maybe last year or last year, now that I'm old, I had to look into my life and I could see a pattern. No, man. Actually, this is how I do things. This is how I function. This is how, and it's a pattern, because maybe as we continue, later on, even in prison, I nearly got raped, like gang raped. So it's kind of like Leonte Landela. And then even in my life, there were that thing like older people.
Yeah.
I want to attract. There's that pattern I would see. Okay, I kind of attract that older person, and I'm appealing to older people, older women.
Yeah.
I can actually have conversation with them, and I'm always fascinated by older women. I'm fascinated when I look umuntu omdala, like, I get that fascination. And even another way I behave sexually in terms of how you do sex. Like, I want to touch. I'm a touchy person. I want to explore the body. And that, what made me realize that was just after I got I was trafficked. That's where I started seeing a pattern because maslala nabantwana, we will engage that way. I remember doing like a serious proper foreplay, lento that we call muffing. I did that while I was still young. And at that time, I had to ask myself, where did you see it? Because there was no point in my life where I would say, maybe I once saw a porn where I saw a guy licking a lady. But I did those things, and I had to ask myself, what happened there? Or what really made me, what gave me those ideas, and what kind of influenced my thinking to go about that. And we used to do that a lot. Whenever I would get a chance in that village, in village, sometimes you can go play Ningu there. Sometimes you are all alone there. Whenever we get time, get naked, and then you do all these things, play with Poopsang Echo, and then do all those things. And I only realize now, man, that thing, I'm not really sure about the child development stage, but it kinda gave me an outlook. And well, now that I'm a Christian, I had to understand the spirituality of it. That behind almost every action, there's a spiritual entity.
Yeah.
Which is most of the time is, let's say maybe the person who raped me, there was a spiritual entity behind her that kind of influenced her to do that. And probably I got that from somewhere. Probably now she was molested, she was raped. That's how she saw herself and this life thing. She saw that as an okay thing. And then not knowing that what she did with me, she imparted that kind of spiritual thingy in me. And that same thing followed me, and it's a blessing, because clearly, I mean, surely I've never done a rape, but Mangpegi Life Farmer was like, actually I should have been a sexual pervert or sexual predator of some sort. And at that time I didn't see anything wrong, because to me it was like, yeah. And there were moments where I was thinking of those things, but I never had an opportunity. So in a sense, in my head, I was a sexual predator. It's just that I never had got an opportunity where I can sit down and then actually practice that. And that whole thing, it happened that time. But I was able to understand it now, that, okay, hence I had to understand even my mom, and then even how everything played out. Okay, I believe there are spiritual entity behind all these things that will make sure that you perpetuate that vicious cycle. The same thing that happened to you, you become that same thing. And then you go around making that thing others experience the very same thing that you got experience. Most of the time, if you listen to rape victims, it's either when they get raped for a first time, it's either that thing happens, that circle. They continue to get raped wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's just the party line. It's either some they become sexual promiscuous in a way, some it always affect them. So that's the pattern I saw, and I engage a lot with these people. Even in prison, I used to hold interviews gents. But just you look like a normal gent. Why are you doing this thing? And then when you sit down and then one-on-one, you get to hear they got raped somewhere in their life. And that made me realize actually a lot of guys got raped. It's just that with guys, it's difficult, because with females, with girls, it's easy. It's either pregnancy or bleeding. But usually a guy doesn't have a physical thing that can maybe make people notice, because most girls, we only notice if there's a physical issue. Let's say maybe she's bleeding, or she can't akakwazi ukuhlala kahle, or she gets pregnant at 12. That's where we start questioning. But you find that she started being raped like 6 years when she was 6. But we only notice because now there's a physical thingy that makes us, man, she can't be pregnant at 12. But with boys, it's not like that. So, and like you said, most of us boys, we embrace that. Yeah, it seemed nice. But now, the moment I started engaging with a lot of guys, more especially in prison, that's where I realized, most guys were actually raped, to an extent that I kind of believe the official stats are not the reflection of the truth.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we think it's only females who experience rapes and stuff. Can't you know? It's the stats. Because and most of the time, the stats is not like they were it came out like the child herself maybe reported that when she was young. Most of the time, the child doesn't report. It's only been seen maybe umama. You remember the Kwekwe story? The umam saw something which she said, this is something wrong with my child. Only when she checked the child, that's where she realized, no man, this seemed like, and then it's been going for a long time. And that's the thing. Boys don't report, and then we keep quiet, and then the stats, maybe it will be one child
Yeah.
once in a while, but you find that almost the stats maybe the ayafana.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think when you were young, maybe things would have turned out different if maybe the development was different, whereby you got to play with other kids in a normal way and you wouldn't be the person that you are today?
Yeah, truly. So for sure, because I like, oh, kuna this Zulu word ethi lekojwa. Yini ukojwa ne? Lekojwa lesemanzi. That Zulu word is in line with the biblical principle ethi train up a child in a way they should go. When they are old, they will not depart from it. Like the issue is the development starts there, because that's where as a child you know nothing. You are like, you are empty, and that's where you get to be programmed. That's where you kind of form like your outlook of life, and this psychological thingy, self-concept, is because self-concept is more of your actually it but it houses a lot of things, but the first thing is your self perception, how you see yourself.
Yeah.
And then within that there's self-image, your self-worth, you see your self-esteem, and then later on to your value system. Your self-esteem and your self-worth influences your value system,
Yeah.
and then your identity now. And then that thing will manifest as an expression. What you do, it's linked, directly linked to what you see yourself, and mostly it's based on the things that happen to you, what you have experienced as a child, what you've seen, what happened to you, and so forth. So you, as a child, you become a manifestation of the environment and whatever happened to you at that time. So when I realized, okay, I could have been maybe a different person, because ngicine ngiba a violent person because I experienced violence sasemncane, a violence ukuthi I couldn't even try to explain why. And then that kind of produced in me the same violent guy. Like I became umuntu onenhliziyo embi, literally. Like to an extent that I came to a point la nginendaba. I don't care. All I care about was if leonto yangijabulisa ngoba, especially I believed in like justice, ukuthi mina kube yimi ukuthi you can't do anything, you can't do something to me and get away with it, because I believed when I was a child they did that and got away with it. But I came to a point where now I can stand up for myself, and now I have to fight. And then if we are triggerisha, whether into yakhona inkulu kangakanani, once I felt triggered, I will do something, and then I'll always dish that level of violence I got when I was young, because at that time I will go for your head.
So even when you were a teenager, your mom didn't come back?
My mom, okay. So my mom leaves, and then she vanishes when I was like Boma 6, 7 Konalapo, and then I'm with this family, and then the Nache family came. They wanted a shepherd boy.
Okay.
They wanted a shepherd boy because laba bahlala khona, they had livestock, so they just wanted a boy who will be their shepherd. And here is this boy who doesn't have a family. I think maybe years later, I can't really remember. And then they came, they took me. First it was a visit. They took me for a visit, and then the second thing, I was taken, and then I never came back where my mom left me. That's when I found myself in the Naches family. But that one, to be honest, they kind of gave me like a home. It felt like a home. Like it never felt like I was like more trafficked, because I'm saying traffic because how it happened. It's not like there was official.
Yeah.
There was no officially something official. No part of my family or anyone who was there to maybe to say, okay, we agree. I didn't even agree. I was just taken, and then I found myself there. And then from there, after maybe few years, I was told we go back to the same village. I was just told Skeze, and then we went there. And they gave me istulo like this one, and ngafike ngahlala phansi, and then I waited, and then this woman came, wafika wahlala almost the same way like this. Wafike wangibheka, and the first thing she said was, "Mpemadi," meaning give me money. Give me money. And I said, I don't have. And then she said, go ask your dad. The dad, she's referring to my adoptive dad now.
Yeah.
Now I'm Thabiso Nage now. That time, saying Thabiso Nage now. Because now I'm staying at my adoptive family where I was trafficked to be a shepherd boy.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to my dad and I asked, he gave me some money. I came back. I gave this woman the money, and then we were sukuma wahamba. She
After
left.
giving her the money.
Yeah. She never said a thing. And that's when I was told, that's your mom. Oh, my mom.
Your real mom.
Yeah, they told me that's your mom, your real mom. And I was like, what?
Why was she looking for money?
She just came, she asked me for money and left. Okay. And then the meeting, party's over. We have to go back to our village where I was. And I went back to my village, and then we continued with life until okay, that's where I attempted suicide. The first suicide, I ate azange ngisho, ne. The second one, it was during winter. I slept outside. Ngathi I wanna freeze to death. I froze, but at least not to death. And then I survived that one. And then years later, after I think 1997 or 1997. My sister came, my biological sister came.
Yeah.
Looking for me. And then,
Sorry, I just wanted to understand. So you went back to the village to meet your mom. You guys were sitting the way we are sitting now. When you look into her face, what do you see?
That time actually I was happy because already when I was in that village, they're in that yard. You know, abantwana mama gago like umama because besikhuluma isitswana.
Okay.
Umama. So that thing, because I had that thing when I got separated with her, I knew who my mom was.
Yeah.
I knew her name.
You had a connection with
Yeah. And even in that village, the confusion was there sometimes because they would say ngumntana lapho. You say, but I knew no. I knew my mom. So, and then there was that longing in me to meet my mom again. I didn't know what happened, but I didn't care about what happened. I just wanted to see my mom. So when I was there, hearing kids saying, mama, I was saying, okay. And Magafika Shalala looking at me and family.
Like that's the only thing that she said. She didn't say,
for real.
Hi, how are you? How are you doing?
Oh, I think she greeted, but not like nothing special. Like I think she came, sat down, and then maybe she greeted me, and then Mpemadi. That's all I remember. Mpemadi, and I don't have. But in my head, I was so happy. I wanted a hug, because you would see other kids.
Did you touch her by any chance?
Nope. I just gave her money. She took the money and stuff. So I was longing for that, that motherly love, that connection. At least that long last, I have my mom, just like other children, because we would masidlala, uyadlala, uyalimala. Maybe one uyalimala, and mama will see mama. I'm even helping them out. That's a nice thing that they developed that longing for me. So all my life, yeah, but no one is there to come and try to help you out. I was born.
So later on, your biological sister came through.
Yeah, my biological sister came through. And then that's where now I kind of reconnected with my biological family. I reconnected with my biological sister. At that time, she's staying back to the village la my mom vele, where I was born, which is with the village I said is Sheila. It's in between Lichtenburg and Mahikeng. We back to that village, and then my sister uhlala no umalume kama mom, like that is umkhulu yabona. And temang figure mina, I only realized when I was older. I had my issues. I had like special needs. I expected when I get there to find a different treatment in terms of love, being embraced, and all that. Because all along, I've been a tough guy. Like I've never been a child. I've never given the space to be a child. So I expected that. And that time I found my sister Naye. I didn't know because now it's the same thing that happened to her.
Yeah.
My mom abandoned her the same, almost the same time. Yeah, and worse, my mom abandoned her with some old madala. She doesn't know. My sister doesn't know about that old madala.
Was it the two of you who got abandoned?
It's three of us. It's my sister and it's me and then my younger brother and then this other sister we never met. She's in Durban in KZN. My mom abandoned her, and almost the same age. She was a toddler. She abandoned her.
Did you try research of what was happening to your mom, man? Because I feel like
I tried.
Why would you have like almost 4 kids and you leave them everywhere?
I tried. Their family is toxic because she's suspected of killing her grandmother. So that's where the issue came from. Her family say she killed a grandmother, so they had to chase her away. So it's a long story. It's a toxic deep because as soon as I met my own grandmother, the first thing she said, "Hey, well, unyogo bulala umamam." Like your mom killed my mom. That's what she said. My own grandmother meeting her in Dlamini, she said that.
She never explained further what happened.
She said that. Like she even died today as I was there in the studio. I was still speaking to my sister. My sister was saying this, if we had an opportunity, I should have asked our grandmother, which is Umama Gamamam, actually, why was she so passionate about the fact that our mom killed her mom? Because she was like that.
Because I really think that if maybe the two of you, because I believe that you and your sister, you are a bit close. If you guys could meet the grandmother, sit down with the grandmother to try and understand.
She's no more now. It just
man.
She's no more. It's just the whole thing. It's tricky because they are saying all kinds of versions of the stories, but most of them were not there when this whole thing happened. My mom has her own version of the story because I did ask her what happened. She told me she was pregnant with me. She got into a car accident, and then the great-grand died. And then the family said she killed her. That's what she said. The family said because it happened. According to her, it's an accident. But now her version of the story, there are loopholes. When you listen, okay, where were you? Where was grandma in the car? And then actually it was a van. There were kids at the back, but abalimalanga kule accident. So it doesn't make sense. So their version of the story is she and my dad actually killed umakoko. So
kuningi, man.
Yeah, kuningi, but okay, sharp. So I met. I met with my sister, and then that's where actually my crime thing started because masing figure ku senghlala no my sister. Because I didn't know back then my issues, ne? So I kind of felt unloved and not. So eventually, ngapha ngibastut, and eventually they chased me away. At that time, I was doing grade 3. They chased me away, and then I started staying in Zabantu around. And then that's when I started doing a crime because at first I started doing crime. I broke into people's home just to eat, just to find something to eat. And then eventually it became my thing. Now I have to steal something to buy shoes. Crime mina inte is like my job angisho. I started off as someone who wanted to just to eat, to survive. But later on, that's when because I was a teenager now, the anger started to boil because I met my mom for the first time, and then meeting my mom, we stayed together, and then masesihlala la no my mom. That's where actually I think first ngishile ngapha ne God bent. So when she tried to explain that story, she said, I think it's a room or a shack, Beisha. She found me lying down, ngingakhali. Uthi makangibona ngisha like indlu isha ngishile ngapha uthi bengingakhali. Uthi makangibheka, she said, "Yo lo mntana unenhliziyo embi." And to be honest, mina, that's all.
But you are young, bro. Like how?
Yeah, and I was a toddler, but at that time now, she's telling me this. I'm a teenager. When I heard that, in my mind, I was like, yeah, that's the reason she abandoned you. She saw umuntu onenhliziyo embi. And to be honest, that's how I started being seeing myself because I started seeing hence the issue of self-concept. I started having issues with my self-image. Hey, son, flip. And then whenever I would do something, to express lenhliziyo. It became now a self-expression because that's what I believed about myself. So around, just not to incriminate myself back then.
Nah, no stress, man.
Yeah, we saying I'm here now in Soweto now. Started experimenting with guns. Now I'm doing robbery and all these things. So this one time we had an idea. No man, you know what? How about this bamba with taxi driving goons? Taxi drivers around Puma 6-ish, 7. That's when now they have all their daily checkings. So man, most of these people are vulnerable. These are like people like us. And then if you pet spam fetu, akuna muntu, like no one is not afraid of a gun. So me and my 3 friends, we started doing this thing. How we will operate, we will like maybe sibe 3, maybe ngimela, we wanna mela. And then me now with the gun, ngizomala. And then mina being mala. And then him ku bus stop. Him who had to see now what it taxi that I pick. Maybe in big factors like, okay, this taxi, does the guy looks familiar, looks dangerous? If we don't know him and doesn't look dangerous, like you judge a person based on how they look, okay, hi. And the bus maybe looks clean. I will ngikhombe taxi from here. And then my friend who's here, I khombe na. Mina automatically bengima behind the taxi driver la.
Yeah.
Just emva kwakhe so. And then umjita lo uzongena phambili la. Already, okay, one factor we have to look. Ukuthi akuna muntu phambili taxi driver, so that my friend oza akibele phambili ahlale la taxi driver, and then lo munye lola afike na ahlale eceleni kwami, but almost ukuthi abele yabona this swing, this ngithi taxi driver, these 2 seats, abe lapho. And then we will just maybe after a time abantu bayehle. Usually we will sizoma kule route that we know ukuthi okay mase ikhomba la eya kuphi, you understand, and then sambe nayo, and then until lasifika khona mase kusele thina etaxini ngizomkhomba mina, because angithi ngila emva kwakhe, like ngila kule city exactly emva kwa taxi driver. That's where mina sengimkhomba manje mkhomba lo mngani wami ugibele phambili uzovela mbambe, so that akavula umnyango abaleka ambambe, and then says, so we did that. I would take behlala start imali, sometimes take the radio, ama wheel cap, ama 87. They have this wheel caps, ama 87. Start ama 87. They were expensive for my panic. And the sound, tatimali, phones were corner, but not everyone were not as like, because that's back in early 2000s. So this one time, we got this guy, Z88. Okay, I remember I
wonder he's tall up. Yes, that's another story.
We had this bullets called Amaholo Point. One. He means part time most of the time. This guy. So this taxi driver simbambile, and then sa kwenye ndawo like kuleyo ndawo leyo kugcwele amaphoyisa kakhulu. Indawo this places where it's either government people, nurses, teachers and police. Sangena ngalapho. This one guy azange avume yena ukuthi ungenile uthe makangena masimtshela silibele samdirector. Usually angithi ngiyamkhomba mina ngimtshela jikala simise la sifuna ukuya khona. Uhambile uthe makangena lelo kasi lelo washaya imoto. Waspida makaspida, this is kuselokishini phela kuphakathi. Wena from lapho abreak. Dead break mina ngila emva kwakhe ngithi ngajumpa ngawela ku dashboard. Mangiwela ku dashboard sesiyalwa silwela isibhamu. The first thing I did, I pulled the trigger. Dua. Abangani bami bonke laba baphuma babaleka ngasala na this guy. This guy wakhona ukuvula umnyango wathatha a gun. Wayihlutha from esandleni sami. And then he's outside. And wayikhomba kimi. Like for real, wayikhomba. That time, Ibranium, like, I felt ngishonile. It kind of felt ngishonile because mangiqeda kuqhumisa indlebe it's a tree. Like because the time I was on the dashboard mangiqhumisa igani ngibone ama-spark nje ama-spark and then amadlebe avalekile like khala nswi kuba ngathi it's a dreamy thing. So makathatha isibhamu sithi and that was mostly my gun because we gun it namajita but behlala kimi. It never did that. Azange ngaphena anytime. Athi maqeda wathi yes. Athi dua. Those same bullet ithi kayi2. Athi dua. Makathi yes and then kula ngiphuma khona ngabaleka. Mangibaleka still azange ngidubule uyawabaleka. Ngabaleka. That moment kinda changed me, but the thing was, the criminal mindset, because we went to Enyangeni prior. We went to Enyangeni, but the nyanga le beithe izongfaka amabhandi. Azange yenze, beithe izongfaka amabhandi izongfasa.
To protect yourself.
Yeah, to protect myself.
Yeah.
And what I didn't mention was my adoptive mom from the Nages family.
Yeah.
She was Inyanga. So I was kind of like, man, it's because maybe,
yeah.
Into lezi zinyanga. Okay, long story short, it was the same year food. Just immediately after that, I was with my friend. We went from doing our criminal activities and back to crime food because ngiyengahlala for like a month or so ngingayenzi anything, trying to reflect on that whole thing. You lapha, I nearly ngicishe ngabhoda phela lapha. And what happened, but I attributed that whole ukuthi hayi man. Yabona into zami. Into zami it's either umuthi wami from my adoptive family because my mom she would send me to go ngomgubhela umuthi, try to get muti for it. I was like, maybe into zami. And then I was like, maybe lo amkhulu loyana I went to Joabeka tuzongifaka amabhandi. Maybe it's those things. I attributed the whole thing, but later on I went back to crime. And then this one time, sesibuyokanga. I don't know English.
No.
Yeah,
people understand. We'll just put subtitles.
Okay,
there.
Cool. Yeah. So this one time, to be honest, on that one time, sibuyokanga senze everything, and now the things besibuyokanga like ingudla, we call it ingudla. Some of the things esiphethe.
Yeah.
Ngihambile ngayengena endlini ngayozishiya. This is now eKaslam. And then besamba C5 nabangani bami. These 4 friends bahamba phambili bayale. I saw them mabajump istrat bagijimisa umuntu. Boqhamuka umuntu so bamgijimisa like bazohlangana naye almost uhamba so kule strat les. So badabula lapha esigangeni bazohlangana naye somewhere so. I saw them azange ngibe nendaba ngasala ngaqoka isilamba. I remember I had a sword. Sword yakhona. It was almost this. Ngathatha le sword and then ngiyabalandela. Mangibalandela mangifika sebabambe lo muntu bayamshaya phansi, lo muntu uphansi sekawile already.
What time is it?
Ebusuku around 10, 11. Bamshayile sibuyoganga le. Bamshayile lo muntu. Mangifika mina, to be honest, I was just asking, ubani lo kwenzakalani? I didn't think bambamba inkuzi or whatever. Mangifika, this person, we know each other. Ishazana. And West, this kulabangani abayi4, these 2 laba lo muntu uhlala eKaslabo.
And bayamazi naye.
Bayamazi. So at that time angina chance ukubuza na manje wine bamba umuntu enimaziyo inkunzi like ngisa-confused ngisafuna ukubuza mina bengiza like ngisondele because it's dark ebusuku kumele ngisondele like closer ngikwazi ukubona who's this person mangibuza ukuthi who's this person, this guy same time angibamba amemeze ngiphethe isod remember. Okay, long story short obvious I have ukuthi ngimgwaze ngiyabaleka phela ngifuna ukubaleka mina. So mina wena bengimgwazela ukuthi ngifuna ukubaleka emgwaze lapho wawungibamba uyamemeza at that time bangibamba inkunzi ngimgwaze ngiphume sibaleke ngibabuze sesiyalwa manje madoda yini yahlanya wine bamba loya muntu loya nenkunzi kuhambani and wine bamba inkunzi because angithi asibamba inkunzi we have imali we have ingudla siyahamba phela siyophuza manje so why kuhambani what and sacabana okay long story short that same case leyo it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday sasifuna umphakathi the whole community umphakathi usifunela for that person died ugwaziwe and there umphakathi I don't know umphakathi uconnecte the dots kanjani bagcina bayilinka nathi so umphakathi so yasifuna ke manje and I remember umphakathi waseSoweto back then like mabakubamba bebakubulala vele and sometimes they will burn your home yabona so I remember mangingena bengihamba nabangani bami besihamba besithole ilift from a truck ne masingene kusephasishini ekhaya kusephasishini like ngena the other side this street and then ngiyangana akusiki ugcwele abantu bekunamanye amajita amile so kule passage ayangibona mangiza so but mangibabheka bathi hey like kuyabona abafuna ukujumpisa bathi mangithi that time umphakathi ungena ejardini wonke lo mphakathi ayengibona no man they are letting us sibaleka mase sibaleka sesiyezwa ukuthi nifuna umphakathi ubhuti wami I managed to find a girlfriend kabhuti wami and we called ubhuti wami asho ukuthi mfana I don't know what you did umfana baleka hamba ungasabuyi because manje ufuna umphakathi bathi nibulala umuntu so umphakathi you can't explain you can't xoxa you can't do anything baleka sibulala umuntu at that time mina ngiyazibuza like lo muntu lo shonile okay well sibaleke mangifike court okay ngiyengabaleka and then ngaye North West ngihamba nomalume wami but eventually because of masengizwe bazoshisa because ngibaleke Sunday kwi-Sunday ekuseni and then around Tuesday bangifonela ekhaya Soweto back ekhaya sekuseNorth West now that's you hear ukuthi umphakathi ubusy bafuna ukushaya they came ekhaya sebafuna ukuphula izinto and because of how I know umphakathi waseSoweto functions during Friday night vision they normally bans but they ban that family about those families abantu labo into I said no you know what I think it's wrong to allow my family babe subjected to this kind of thing ebangayazi they know nothing about this thing now bheka mina ngibalekile already I was in North West at that time ngihamba nomalume wami I remember we were eBinoni a Formula 1 they still have Formula 1 back then Formula 1 is just near class it was opposite Lakeside we were staying there in the hotel so I decided I told my uncle you know what I think it's better I turn myself in for if I turn myself in it will be easy for the community to leave the family alone and that might avoid the family house being burned and I did that. I called Daily Sun at the time. Daily Sun was popping at the time with this kind of stories. I called it Daily Sun. I remember I spoke to a reporter, Mzikunen, and then he arranged the whole thing. I went to Media 24 in Auckland Park, and then that's where I got arrested. And then I got charged for a murder. And then I had only when I was during the trial now, the case, because all along I was going to Remind and stuff. When now it was the time for the hearing, the actual case now to take place, that's when I had these 4 friends. But I'm not their friend. I just came from nowhere and stabbed a person. And in court, that's where I discovered that this person was stabbed 25 times. And I was like, nah, it can't be me. I can't stab a person with a sword. Engaga 25 times. I said no. And then that time I was young. I couldn't ask maybe, but okay, bring the doctor's report. Let's see the sizes of
Yeah.
the wounds. The stepping wounds can show, but these are different.
Versus the sword that you had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are different. These are different, maybe weapons used here. And but that time, the murder weapon, which is the sword, I hid it, so they didn't find it. So I was, if maybe I was smart back then, I could have the right thing I could have done was to admit, to accept the case. So I was of this opinion, iqala livunywe. So I was talking my own version of the story. My friends said, you are the one. And then at that time, on my statement, I wrote a different story that AP guy, I did that. So I couldn't change my stories. And at the same time, the 25 holes, I kind of felt, oh, evil, bruh, with the sword, stepping a person 25 holes. So I just accepted it. Like it never made sense, but it was later where I had to question the whole thing. I said, no, it can't be, because I remember if maybe, I stepped him maybe for long, maybe it should be not more than five holes.
Yeah.
Because at that time I wasn't stepping him for death. I just wanted, bengafuni ukumbulala, I just wanted to ukubaleka, because ufike wabamba mina. And that time, I'm being honest, I just asked, who's this person? I was asking, who's this person? Ngifuna ukubona ngiyafika. Yabo, and then wavela wabamba mina wamemeza. So that's how I got arrested and then sentenced to 20 years. For that murder, my friend said, abangazi, they are not my friends, and they don't know why I did it. They just saw me.
Where are they now?
State witnesses.
Where are they now?
One of them died. But the interesting thing, when I came out, I met with the sister, one of the girls to the family of the deceased. She said they did the African thingy. They consulted them, basebenza istumbu, ukuthi the person who's responsible for the death must die. And the person mina engingambona gijima, uyo wasuke wagijima wayale, huyo shonile. Umngani wethu, because angithi besi5 kule 4 these two, actually the two of them became state witness. So the one who was the state witness number 2, huyo shonile, who the one, and that's the one who initiated the whole thing. Because mina bengiselmuva bekamgijimisa, didn't care, because ebusuku didn't care, but so who initiated the whole thing. So it's a family member angitshela ukuthi uyisebenze isidumbu ukuthi whoever is responsible mele ashone. Semakasho njalo, I kind of felt, okay, maybe it worked, because kushone umjita huyo shonile, and then the other one lo munye uyinkabi, then laba lo munye washintsha ubitso wami usifiso naye, ngathi after the whole thing wavele washintsha wayeka ubutsotsi wayosebenza. And then the other one uyinyawupe, I met him ekasi uyinyawupe, thema ngimbuza, couldn't make sense, ngavele ngamyeka.
Did the family maybe try to forgive you? Some of the family members?
Interestingly, some of the family members, laba engihlangane nabo, they don't believe it's me based on this.
The family of the deceased.
Yeah,
did they forgive you?
I didn't see maybe the older ones. Okay. I just saw the girl, because we family, and then the brother to the deceased, and then the brother and namanje he was telling me, you were sold. They sold you out. It doesn't make sense, because he knew that mina nala machitalawa we are friends. But at court they said they are not friends. So he said from there, that's when I know this is a lie, because I know you are like nabangani. You guys are always together. So at court they're saying you are friends. So they're saying when he was blaming me for not speaking up, because he said when it's like you took a fall for something else. And at that time I was confused. You were young. Couldn't make sense of the whole thing. I make up my own lies in my head, creating my own story, my own alibi that I wasn't there. And then when I get there, they saying it's me. So I couldn't come back from that. I didn't know how to change from that initial lie. and tell the actual
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, my mindset, ukuthi cala livunywe. It was a mindset. The issue is mine. It was the mindset thing. Like I'm fair because when I was willing, like I was a hardcore criminal. I remember when I went to parole. Before you get the parole, I got parole. So you go to the committee
After how many years?
after 11 years.
So you're in prison for 11 years, basically.
Yeah.
And you are sentenced for 20 years.
Yeah. So when I was in parole, the chairman, he was reading the case file, my case file. It's my profile from the arresting office. He said the arresting officer says you are a cold common criminal. And then the guy I'm looking at, it doesn't make sense. And then I had to tell the story. He had to say, as in, just tell me who are you, Tabiso, because I'm reading you the file in terms of the statement of the arresting officer. He's saying you are a cold common criminal, and now your file in prison says differently. And then the person I'm looking at here, oh, different. So just tell me. And I had to tell him, hey, the cold common criminal thing, it happened because of I had to tell him my own story. And then he had to say, okay, one grant parole.
I'm sure you were very happy, eh?
Hey, bro. Yeah, it was fixed emotion. At the same time, like, I mean, for justice wise, it kind of felt unfair because someone died. And now, I served the half of the sentence and I come back and then my life continues. And I kind of felt the family doesn't have a closure, so to speak, because they don't really know what really happened. You understand? And I don't have the balls, so to speak, to approach them and tell them, actually, this is how it happened, except the younger ones, the younger family members, like the brother of the deceased. I had to tell him, fine, this is what happened. Benuphuti wakho nginesandla, but isandla sami, I didn't kill him. I don't believe I killed him. Mina I was just bengifuna ukubuza ubani, and then yena the masibhekana kula ngibamba khona amemeza, and then mina bengifuna nje ukuphunyuka ngibaleke. You understand? And then that's how nginesandla khona.
Jeez, man. How was prison for you?
Oh, prison was hectic, bro, because I got there fresh. I got arrested 16 days after writing my matric exams. Back then, the matrix results were coming out in 28 December. I got my matric while I was in prison, my matric result when I was in prison. And in the cell, I was the youngest. They called me young man. A trial, there were a lot of issues, but nothing hectic. And then the problem started after I got sentenced. More especially because I got sentenced in Johannesburg prison, the infamously Sun City, and then I was transferred to Venda. I went to a prison called Matach. It's in Thohoyandou. That's where now I started to see good prison. Priam, don't whatever you see on social media about prison being a hotel, never. That's a lie. In that prison, I was placed in a section called Maximum 1. It's a maximum available because I was serving 20 years, it's fresh. So I was going to a prison, a private prison called Kutama. It's in Sentimole in Makado. So before you go to Kutama, Sentimole, it's a private prison. You have to via the DCS is it's the one that facilitates who goes in and what. But before you go to Kutama, you have to at least have more than 6 months in your sentence. So I was taken there. I was in 2 months after I got sentenced, because I was sentenced August and I was transferred to Venda on October. So I had to stay in Matachi for like 4 months until I make up 6 months. And that's where I saw good the prison is not. In that prison, I'm a single cell. Ne? There, bro, especially for younger boys. In prison, it's more... it's not a good place, more especially for younger boys, because that's where I saw a young man adlula nge-transfer. There's a thing, transfer, maybe you're coming from another prison. Umbona adlula emawindweni. Kusasa ekuseni masivuka, you will hear that he got raped. And I remember it was in that prison where I started reading my Bible. And then I had to read my Bible. I had to. And then I had to try to reconcile. Not to try. It wasn't really my thing. That it wasn't initially the thing I wanted to do. The reason I read the Bible was so I find my mistakes, all the contradictions, so that I can argue better with the Christians. But as I read it, that's where it was like a reflection. It was like a mirror. I was able to see that, bruh, you are broken. You are broken, you are miserable, and you are a wicked person. That's how I see like the reflection. It kind of reflected all I was.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I had to reconcile with the truth. I had to accept the truth. You are broken. And then that time, in that prison where there was a time where I was a target for a gang rape. Because I remember how I got to hear about the gang rape. When I got into the section, I was with another guy. We came together from a Johannesburg prison. So he was placed in another cell and then in another cell. So mina naye ngathi kuye, how about we want a cell sihlale together so that it will be better because he's a song. Kanti yena we kule cell angene kuye, this guy wanted to rape him makangena lapho. So yena he sold me out. He said, no, yabona lo mfana loyana, because mina I was younger. And ngaso sikhathi benginomzimbanyana ngisidudlanyana, I don't exercise. Ngapha mawungatholi ilanga ejele, you become pale, like kuba light in complexion. So I was light in complexion, ngimhlophe ngineshluthu. Yabona. So I didn't know good le that's not the right look at prison. You don't have to be fresh in a prison. So this guy sold me out. The guy who wanted to rape him. You see that guy, that boy, he's my maid. I can give you that maid. So that guy arranged with that guy lo bekafuna ukumrape ukuthi mina ngimuvele kulelo sele lelo. So mina, without knowing, I said to him, bra, let's find a cell sizohlala together so that we be safe, because la uyabona khambani. And then I want to know, come over to my own cell. So when I went over to his cell, I could see, my good Norman, this guy is not, the other guy, olala lapha kulompetelo, is not moving out. Izinto zakhe zilapho. So it was a trap. And abemele ngingene lapho and I got locked with that guy so that azokwazi ukungirape ebusuku. So mina ngabe mangirida i-situation izinto zikamjita Norman. Why kusana izinto zikamjita la? Umjita makathatha into zakhe so that mina mangiza iselele empty. There's umbhede, because umbhede i-2 ejele. Umbhede kamjita lo ngize nayo ulala phezulu, lo phansi kulala lo mjita amthole lapha. So izinto zikamjita zilapho. But no, umjita makathatha into zakhe. Yabo. So when I saw that, I went back to my cell. When I went back to my cell, the guy engihlala naye eseleni, he knew the whole thing. So I think he kinda got inspired by ukuthi, okay, I was able to kinda see the scam. And then he wangibuza ukuthi, mfethu, how do you know that guy loyana? Ubesimbiza uRota. How do you know uRota? Ngathi no uRota angimazi, I met him at Trucking when we were transferred here. Athi mfethu lo amjita loyo uyakuthengisa, ukuthengisile actually. Ukuthengisile, and then njengoba ngowena uya laphana, bamele wena ufike ube locked up to lo mjita lana akurape. Athi hayi, think of it. Why wena boya laphana? Athi wena uyohlala lapha, where else into zikamjita loyana zilapha. And then that's where I started seeing into. And then from lapho, that's when I became apparent, like clear, good they want to rape me, because now ngasuka kule cell bengihlala kulo engifikele kulo mjita lo, because bekabhema ayohlala nomjita ongabhemi. Mangifika kulo mjita lo na, he told me straight base sikhiyelwa, because ngingene lapha before sikhiyelwa around boma 11 12, sikhiyelwa ngo1 lapha. Mangingena he told me ukuthi Brian, ngivumile ukuthi uzohlala nami, but manje njengoba ngingena, so I was called. I'm not gonna mention names, but mfana, they told me ukuthi ngihlukane nawe, ngingathelwa amaqhaphazela, because you are a target, Brian. Ngicela ukukutshela ivari, you are a target, they want to rape you. athi ngiyacela mfana, so I don't want to find myself enkingeni. Kusasa ekuseni ngicela ufune enye indawo. Cabanga, now I have to live with that reality. Flip. A guy uyangisaba like sekasaba ukuhlala nami because now I'm mugged. Ukuthi ngibe end. I slept ekuseni mangivuka. I went to amaphoyisa ngicela isel, and then they gave me enye isel yakhona beyivaliwe but toilet issue, and then I explained. I don't remember the story. I came with some story nyana, they bangivumela, but okay, bangivumela ngahlala lapho. Sengihlala kulelo sele and I know that I'm mugged. And then the thing is, prison, abona like it's like abona minyango ile.
Yeah.
And then iminyango, that's where the ama parole officers, ama officers are, ama correctional officers are. So and bayakhiya lapho most of the time. So what I'm trying to say ukuthi ama correctional officers won't help you under that circumstance. Kusele wena nama prisoners amasel. So kula manje ubona khona ukuthi you are not as clever as you thought you are. Awukho dangerous as you thought you are. La and mawubabheka abantu bakhona, because I was young, I'm a hot man. Like abantu ukuthi maybe mina I'm even older mina man. Like I'm a hot man. Abantu abajimile. Like the thing about my prison, especially the guys abayenza gangsterism or who do such kind of stuff, they like physically they are built up. And ngabona ukuthi la one mind sayiba ukuthi kunokuthi urage abantu abaningi. How about mhlambe try to get one ke? Give yourself to one guy ube umfazi wakhe, because now you have to think, how do you come out of this? Flip. But every time I think of that one, I think if there's anything about my childhood was my ability to be honest with self. The only person I had throughout the whole process was self, and that's the only person I cared about, him. And I knew whatever I do, though everyone might leave and none, I'll still remain with self. So and then I told myself when I was young, I will protect myself. I will do anything to take care of myself. So it's a prison. But like, if I'm selling myself, it's not protection.
Yeah.
How am I going to live with self going forward? I can't live with self knowing that I was in a situation where I had to give up self, so to speak, to survive, for survival. Nah, bruh, you've been through a lot. You got yourself in this. Probably you deserve it, but nah, bruh. You can't sell yourself like that. How do you do that? Because the sexual thing that I got, it was a female. All along, man, I have that thing. I'm an indot. I'm a man. So part of my sexuality is tied up to that. So me sleeping with another man, how can I go again and say I'm a man? I don't see that. Meaning I'm going to die as a man. It's going to take my manhood away. I said, nah, can't. And I think that's when God found me. I think that was the corner where uNkulunkulu was able to say, okay, realize, Mfana, that you are in this. You got yourself here.
I don't know if maybe your parole period has ended.
No, I got paid 3 years.
3 years. And you're still pushing. You're doing very well for yourself, you know. But I'm happy. I'm happy. What would you say to, just in closing, what would you say to those boys that are just doing some naughty things in the township?
Oh, Vana, this saying says crime doesn't pay, but crime does pay, bro. But the truth is, you can't guarantee ukuthi izokubhadala ngani. And izinto ezikubhadala ngazo, chances are you might not come back from them, and you might not, some of the things, you might not be able to reverse them. Like me now, I've never been formally employed, because manje, remember I got in prison sasomntwana, so I can't be formally employed. I can't find a decent job due to my criminal record. And most of those things I did them when I was still a young boy. I didn't see or foresee how they will affect my future.
Yeah.
But here I am. First, my daughter. I became I discovered I'm a dad while I was in prison. I couldn't be there for my daughter, and I can't take that away. I can't reverse that. And the other thing now, the same prison thing is limiting me, and it's something that I did once. So what I'm trying to say to a young boy, I'm fine. The best thing is personal development. Find marketable skills. Find something you can do that will give you peace. Now that the digital space have opened up a lot of ways where you can do something, some dope things. Some dope things. You can be an app developer. Actually, I'm an app developer now.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, you can be an app developer. You can be a digital content creator, and you can get the same feeling probably being a criminal would get. You can get the same respect from people. You can get the same honor. People can see you like the same thing. We wanna pursue go prison. You can get it by doing maybe other alternative stuff, because those ones, they guarantee you of your better future and a peaceful life,
Yeah.
as compared to manje.
Let's say somebody wants to offer you a job. How do they reach out to you?
Okay, WhatsApp Kwamanje is my WhatsApp, because I had a website, so I had payment issues.
Let's say email, because I know WhatsApp, a lot of people, they might call you a lot.
Yeah, should I call it? Should I mention it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my email is sfisots@outlook.com. It's like Sfiso as in SFISOTS at outlook.com. At outlook.com. Yeah.
Brother man, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate your time coming to us, having to share your story. Very, very sad story. Also inspirational story as well. I hope that the story gets to reach out to so many people and teach people, educate people. And I hope that maybe 1 or 2, 3 people will reach out to you. This is the little that we can do on our side. But I'm sure there are people that are out there that don't mind hiring a person with a criminal record. So, but thank you so much. I'm happy for you being brave to come and share your story with us.
Ngiyabonga mfethu.
Ngiyabonga.
Bonga.